Y'all know who it is, man. It's your boy Antoine Smith. I want to jump on for a quick second, man, to talk about Julio Jones, man. I know you heard the news by now. Julio just about to hang up the cleats for the final time. But we all seen this coming, man. Let's keep it real. The last, I would say, 4 years, 5 years, Julio wasn't Julio. Um, he was 31 when he left Atlanta, and I think Julio, man, all time, Julio had to be, talent wise, a top five NFL receiver all time. Talent wise. Because you talk about a guy 6'3", 220 pounds, built like a tank, was hard to tackle, could run every route in the route tree. Um, and he always made his presence known, man. But injuries, they caught up with him after a little while. As y'all remember, when he went to the combine in 2011, um, he actually did the combine with a broken foot. So that kind of gave us a clue that injuries were going to be a part of what was going on in his career. Now, he missed a good little bit of games due to injuries, but every player does. But sometimes he fought through injuries. 2014 to 2019, he damn near played in every game. But when he had that serious injury in 2013, we got a sign of a guy that could fight back. And honestly, I think the Falcons could have did better justice with what was going on with Roddy White, because Roddy White and Julio Jones to me are one of the better talent that I have seen play. Hey Tiff, what's going on? Happy 404 day. Um, Roddy White and Julio Jones, man, were two of the better receivers at that time, and I feel like they could have made some magic happen. And the way things ended with Roddy White, and this is not about Roddy, this is about Julio, but still, this is just my quick thoughts, man. But I feel like Roddy White and Julio Jones, they had to stay together, man. The Falcons probably could have won uh, Super Bowl 51 and probably went back and repeated, because they pretty much had the same team. But when Roddy left, Julio just had to take center stage, and he was ready to do so. But I feel like Roddy White, having him probably 2 more years, would probably would have catapulted Julio Jones into greatness, as far as one of the better receivers to ever live statistic wise, because Roddy White would have took that pressure off of Julio Jones in that Super Bowl, and I'm gonna say that to the day I leave this earth. But nonetheless, Julio kept it going, and look, Julio, that 300-yard game, man, we're going to get into this game right quick. The 300-yard game, man, this one of the most exciting things that I had ever saw as an Atlanta Falcons fan, because when I started watching football at 10 years old, Deion Sanders was just getting drafted by the Falcons, and that says a lot. When one game that comes to mind for an Atlanta Falcon fan, it's not a Super Bowl, but a 300-yard game by a wide receiver. That game was just unmatched, man. He could do no wrong that game. And when you see somebody um, can do the thing that he do, man, it was just quite exciting to see. And that season, that Super Bowl season, wasn't even his best season. It was the season before the Super Bowl, where Carolina made it to the Super Bowl, where he led the league in receiving yards, receptions at 136, yards at 1871, and only scored 8 touchdowns, 116 yards a game. So as his time in Atlanta, to me, 10 years, his first 10 years could have made him a top receiver all time. And Puka Nakua brought it out the other day that he thinks Julio was the best receiver all time, and I get why he said it, because as I told y'all, 6'3", 220 pounds just don't come around often. So if you think about what went on with the way he played the game, like I said, it was unmatched. But just listen to his stats in Atlanta alone. 848 reception, which I think is a team record. Uh, 12,896 yards, which is also a team record. 15.2 yards a game. The only thing to me that didn't resonate well and I didn't like it was touchdowns, only 60. Julio Jones was a talent, man. He could have averaged 10 to 15 touchdowns a game. But it just wasn't the way the offense was built. It wasn't built around Julio. It was built around the run game, just like it is right now. So them not putting him in the end zone more, I think damped his spirit just a little bit. It didn't dim his light, but it just could have made him a little bit more memorable as far as the things he did. Because you talk about Hall of Fame players, he's still going to be in the Hall of Fame. But you talk about guys like Jerry Rice, who's a record that's probably going to never be broken. Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, um, Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, all the top wide receivers all the time. I think the only thing that Julio, out of all of those guys, the only thing that he's missing is touchdowns. As far as athletic ability, he still put up great numbers, but getting in that end zone, it just seemed um, so much more. Probably would have catapulted him all the way up the list. Because every time somebody talks about Julio, they're going to talk about um, why did he have that this many touchdowns. Um, it's just stupid. But he averaged 15 yards a catch, and that's not that's not easy to do in the NFL. And as an Atlanta Falcon, he averaged 95.5 yards a game. At the time, that was an NFL record. Once he left the Falcons, that number dwindled on down because of playing time, because of the situation that he played in with what team, and it dropped all the way down to 82.5. But it's still top 10 all time. Even Jerry Rice is on there at 75 yards a game. But Jerry Rice had consistency at quarterback. And Julio did too for the most part. But I just think um, not building this offense around Julio, I think it kind of, left him out of some conversations. But I mean, that's a conversation for another day. But Julio Jones, man, during his time in Atlanta was just a sight to see. Yards a game, like I said, in Atlanta was 92. I'm sorry, 95.5. Listen to these 5 seasons with yards per game: 116, 106, 116.9, 100.6, 104.8. He averaged 100 yards a game all those seasons. Like I said, he led the league with 1871. In 2018, he had 1677, 16.4 yards a catch. It's just he did not get in the end zone enough. And if y'all remember that one season, Julio went damn near a whole season without scoring because he didn't score until the Washington game in week 11, I think it was. And I think that season he only had 3 touchdowns. For a Hall of Fame type receiver, you can't let things like that happen. But they failed him with some of the things they did as far as running the offense. But Julio still went out and did his thing every Sunday. So I just hope that they find a way to repair their relationship with Julio Jones. And I know we talk about how he left and what happened with him and Arthur Blank. Hopefully they can fix that, man. Because one thing about it, man, you only get one life. You can't be bitter all your life, and you can't let money destroy relationships. And we all know that Julio at the time that he signed that 3 year, $66 million deal. To me, I just felt like he was, I would say, past his prime, even though he was only around 30 years old at the time. But you start to see the injuries with the hamstring, the injuries with the ankles, the physical beating was just catching up with him. And if y'all remember what Calvin Johnson said, the reason why he retired, it was he couldn't get out of bed in the morning anymore. And he knew his body could not take that beating anymore after all these years in the league. And I just know Julio Jones probably would have been um, a top 3 receiver had he got in the end zone just a little bit more. Because guys like Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, those guys up in the 150 range. Jerry Rice is in the shit damn 200 with rushing touchdowns. He has 197. And I don't think, like I said, nobody never break that record. So I hate the way it ended in Atlanta. I wish it could have ended better because Julio was a shell of himself the last 3 years in the league. He tried to get out and get a ring pairing with Derrick Henry in Tennessee, going to a rival Tampa, and ended in Philadelphia in 2023. Did not play last year, but we knew the writing was on the wall. But I just, feel like Julio, it could have went better. But also listen to what he done as a NFL player. Two-time first-team All-Pro, three-time second-team All-Pro, seven-time Pro Bowler, two-time receiving yards leader, and I gave y'all those seasons, 2015 and 2018. Tied with Antonio Brown, 2015 with receptions. 2010 All-Decade Team. So he had a very, very solid career with 914 receptions, 13,703 yards. I think he's a Hall of Famer. He may not be first ballot because the log jam at a wide receiver getting into the Hall of Fame, it's gridlocked because you saw what they did with Terrell Owens and Randy Moss a couple of years ago. They had to put both of those guys in at the same time because if they put one in without the other, it wasn't going to do justice because those guys were neck and neck when it came to touchdowns, when it came to yards and receptions. And both of those guys were athletic freaks as well. Um, Now, Calvin Johnson got in first ballot, and we knew he was 6'5", 235, 4'3", 40. This dude was a wide receiver, a tight end, and a thoroughbred racehorse built all into one and could jump out the gym. And Julio had those same qualities. But hey, even though I said maybe a log jam, I could be wrong. But look, he could even get in first ballot himself. So who knows? But running a 4.39 on a broken foot in the NFL Combine let us know that we were destined for greatness with Julio Jones. It let us know, it gave us a glimpse as to what he could do. And injury did slow him down at the end of his career, especially with Atlanta. But before those injuries kicked in, Julio was definitely one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game of football. No doubt, no question about it. But Quintez Lopez Jones, Quintorris Lopez Jones has retired from the NFL, and y'all just let me know, how y'all feel. Drop it in the comment box. Yeah, Tony, right? He might be a first batter, but you still got guys like Torrey Holt who's not in. Isaac Bruce, I think he just got in. So I mean, it's a lot of jam. Larry Fitzgerald, he's coming up soon. So I mean, wide receiver is just one of those log jam. That's just what goes on at the Hall of Fame. If a position is log jam, you may have to wait a little while. And before we get out of here, man, I just gotta say, it's a travesty that Jesse Tuggle is not a Hall of Famer. Zach Thomas got in, and Jesse Tuggle's numbers are better than Zach Thomas. So Jesse Tuggle should get in, and hopefully Roddy White will get in one day because more Falcons need to get in. John Abraham, I can just keep going. Um, so we know Matt Ryan is probably going to be a Hall of Famer, but first ballot, I don't think so, but he will be a Hall of Famer one day. Um, but it's just the nature of the beast, man. Julio played his heart out with the Falcons, but it took a toll on his body and the way things ended, relationship wise. And we talked about the Ring of Honor a little bit not too long ago. Me and Chris. That relationship could stop him from being in the Ring of Honor because he may not show up for his ceremony. So that's why I said I feel like they should find a way to mend that relationship, man, because you just don't like to see things like that happen, man. You just don't. But that's my quick reaction to Julio Jones retiring from the NFL after 13 seasons. Hell of a run. You got to give him his flowers while he's here, man. Because one thing about Julio, man, he put on the show, and defensive coordinators could not game plan for him, and a lot of players could not shut him down. I mean, they talk about Jalen Ramsey the way he did, but at that point, he wasn't the 2014 Julio, 2015 Julio. He was the Julio who was a shell of himself at that point. And like I said, I hope they fix their relationship because him not even showing up for Matt Ryan's retirement ceremony, it was painful to watch. But again, when you have things going on behind the scenes that none of us know nothing about, um, you just don't know, how to fix that. And you just pray that they fix it one day because you want to see Julio at Mercedes-Benz Stadium with his name going up in the rafters in the Falcons Ring of Honor. And again, other Falcons, they need to make the Ring of Honor, bigger because John Abraham, he was a great. Terrence Matthews was a great. Um, Roddy White got in already. Rory Dunn got in. Mike Vick should get in. Yeah, I said Mike Vick should get in the Ring of Honor because the impact that he had on the city was the same as Deion Sanders, and they played in the city the same amount of time, about 5 years. So Dion, Vic, Jesse Tugger is already in. Just put more legends in that played during the '90s, because it seems like they forget about those players. But without those '90 Falcons, we would not have these Falcons today because we as fans know what it meant to us. But that's my quick thoughts on that, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Julio return. Just drop it in the comment box, man. Y'all know how we doing it in the sports machine, man. Let's debate. Let's have fun. It's your boy Antoine Smitty Smith signing off. I will holler at y'all soon, man. Peace.